Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. I'm going to be going over a couple of things with everybody today. First and foremost is, yes, I had my annual exam with my internal medicine doctor and we did run blood work. So I'm going to go over what my blood work is looking like now on week 14 of Zepbound. Yes, I have been on Zepbound the entire 14 weeks. Yes, for the majority of it, all but 4 of those weeks, I have been on the 2.5 milligram. I am still having trouble even finding the 2.5 milligram, much less anything else. As you may have seen recently, Eli Lilly has reported out to the FDA that they are extending their shortages, and it is not only going to be the larger titrations, but the others included as well. They are currently only focusing on the 2.5 milligrams. So let's go ahead and start talking about what these results were and what this is going to look like for us moving forward, especially those of us who have been on Zepbound all along. First and foremost, I want to go over what most people are here for. They want to know what those blood results look like. So I'm going to go ahead and go over all of it. First, I want to tell everybody I do have an internal medicine doctor. She also has a PA that she works with. I did sit down with the PA this visit. It was a very strange visit. I'm just going to go ahead and preface that with you all. This is the office that I normally go to that for the past 2 years, they have been hounding me about losing weight. I have told them I gain weight while I'm on my Cosentyx. It happens every single month. I've tried keto, I've tried carnivore, I've tried vegan, I've tried just not eating. Nothing was working. I was still gaining weight. Every time I left their office, they continued to hand me a weight loss magazine, even though I was telling them I need something to help me combat what I'm currently on with my autoimmune treatment. I'm not blaming the full entire weight loss on Cosentyx, as I have also been on and off thyroid medicines over the years. I've also been put on metformin before, even though I do not have diabetes. Typically, my A1C level has always been fairly low until I started taking my Cosentyx, which my new endocrinologist that I transferred to after I had all the reactions with metformin did tell me that a elevated or slightly elevated A1C is not uncommon with autoimmune patients. So my A1C level of 5.6, which is right on the cusp of it's still good and it's not all the way bad yet, or it's not pre-diabetic just yet, she is okay with, as long as it stays there and it does not continue to rise. My rheumatologist does also monitor a lot of different organ functions for me, and he did not seem overly concerned with it either. My internist and my PA that I saw this week, however, I thought would be really happy to see that my weight was going down and very excited about it. However, that's not really what I got during this visit. Hence, it was a little odd. The very first thing that came out of the PA's mouth was that their office does not like for people to be on these medications. They did know that I was on this medication because I let them know via a portal that the endocrinologist would be putting me on Tirzepatide. I believe at the time that I messaged them, I told them it would be mounjaro, because that's what she had been submitting for the PA for. And I did not really understand that mounjaro was not the same as Zepbound, because everything I had read, they're the same thing, which they are. It's all Tirzepatide. But for some reason, I'm not really sure what it is. She basically just said our office does not really agree with giving people these for weight loss. We would prefer that you just try to eat less and exercise more, which is a common theme that you hear from many, 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 many people. The fact of the matter is, I have ate less, I have exercised more, and nothing was happening. The only thing that was happening was I gave myself insulin resistance, which my GYN then came back and said, hey, now we have PCOS, which is sometimes a side effect of insulin resistance. I tried metformin, I tried thyroid medicine, I tried changing my thyroid medicine, and since I've been on autoimmune treatments, nothing improved any of that. And basically I just gained weight every single month. So I kind of sat and said, you know, I've looked into this. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that they don't watch my YouTube channel. because I have looked into these medicines very, very well. I chose the Tirzepatide over the Ozempic and Wegovy, although I will let you all know that my Weight Watchers clinic doctor, I think, is like fed up with trying to find Zepbound, fed up with trying to send that out, and then I'm waiting and not able to get it sometimes. She has asked me for the umpteenth time now to please switch to Wegovy. So just so that you all know, I am going to be doing some research into Wegovy over the next couple of weeks. If the shortages don't get better for me personally, then I would consider doing this. I'm trying to get through my June 17th appointment, which is my 4-month follow-up with my endocrinologist. We're just going to say endocrinologist and not her name. I'm trying to get through my 4-month appointment with my new endocrinologist so that she can see how I'm doing on the Zepbound and Tirzepatide. I will also ask her what her thoughts are on the shortage as far as trying to obtain it, or if she also agrees that I should switch over to Wegovy. And I would like to have my research behind me before I hear what her response is for that, so that I know whether or not I'm going to move forward and say, okay, let's switch to Wegovy, or if I want to stay on Zepbound. Obviously, I want to stay on Zepbound. However, with these shortages, it's also extremely, extremely difficult. I know that in the past, I've also talked about compounds multiple times with people. I am going to say this very, very quickly. And if anyone would like to see it, I will, in fact, link it down below. The first video that I did on compounds was one where I took your all's challenge. I just showed you how easy it was to obtain one. That is not one that I would ever use after all of the information that I found on them. I additionally submitted the FOIA request to the FDA, and I asked them to please provide me any type of review, inspection, approvals, anything for any of the 3 pharmacies located around where that one was. And I got a response back that there are no records with the FDA on any of those entities. Do with that what you will. I additionally went forward. I have looked at over 20 different platforms. I landed on Emerge. I went over this with you all last time. They are offering my audience members $25 off their first 2 shipments that they receive, for a total of $50 off. They do, in fact, ship from one of 3 503A facilities. One of their facilities has a 503B facility that feeds into the 503A. I have done an entire blog post on this where I have done all of the research for you. I'm not saying that all of these pharmacies are perfect. I'm not saying that they have not had any issues in their inspections, because they have. I've also linked it all in the blog post for you so that it's easy for you all to look at it as well, so that you can make your own educated decision. I will say that Emerge has been absolutely wonderful with the questions that I have had for the nurses and doctor, and also getting back to me. They are even helping me to obtain additional information on one of the pharmacies that the pharmacy requested that I ask my prescribing provider to request the information, instead of it being released directly to me, to a patient. So there's not many platforms that are going to help you do that and help you look into the people that they are utilizing, just so you guys keep that in mind. So I will also link that and put a QR code up right over here, so that you guys, if you are interested in compounding and not running around trying to find different FDA approved drugs like I'm trying to do, then that's an option for you. I will tell you that there's a lot of reasons why I think people who are interested in compounds are going to like Emerge. I've also listed all of those reasons over on the blog post. There's quite a lot of reasons that people will like them over a lot of the other platforms, including things like fees and BMI requirements, and you're just working with an actual medical professional. It's also extremely easy to do refills. I want you guys to comment down below if you are considering switching to a different drug besides Tirzepatide, either Zepbound or Mounjaro, because of the shortage right now, and what are you considering switching to? Tell me below. If you are also interested in Wegovy, make sure that you stay tuned with me. I'm going to be going over everything that I find on Wegovy as well with Novo Nordisk. I'm also going to go over a few things that are in the pipeline today that are coming. So there are things to get excited about. So let's go back to my internal medicine visit. Not only was I told we don't like for patients to take these, they also asked me to potentially go ahead and come off of the medicine. I told them that was not going to happen. I've lost quite a lot of weight that I've not been able to lose in years, and I feel fine. I'm not having any side effects, and I'm literally on what they call a loading dose. They did reiterate to me that the 2.5 milligram is only meant to be taken for 4 weeks, and then you titrate up into the 5 or 7.5, which is more of your maintenance doses. They basically said you're not supposed to be on the 2.5 for more than 4 weeks. We don't really know if that's going to have any kind of side effects or anything else. And I said, to be honest, I'm on the absolute lowest dose that there is to be on. I'm fine with that. I may or may not be switching medications to something different. However, I'm not going to be completely coming off of these medications. They were not very happy with that, but they also told me that ultimately it was my choice. They did tell me that if my blood results came back and there were issues within my blood work, that they would be contacting my endocrinologist to remove me from the medication, which I was like, what? Okay, interesting. So lucky for me, my blood work came back and it was wonderful. So not only has my cholesterol gone down, which my cholesterol being below 200 has only happened one other time, and that was when I lost over 85 pounds and I was on a full strict keto diet. So my cholesterol is now below 200, which is wonderful. I also have fully normal levels of my thyroid. They tested T3, they tested T4, they also tested TSH. I will say that my TSH was a little high, but I was told by both of my endocrinologists that as long as I am below 5, one said below 5, one said below 10, and I am feeling fine, that they do not look at towards medication unless I was trying to become pregnant again, which I'm not. I got 2, that's enough. It's more than enough. My triglycerides have also lowered. I didn't really have a triglyceride problem, but I was noting that as I continued to gain weight on the Cosentyx, that triglyceride number started coming up, as well as the same thing, my glucose had gone up and now my glucose is down. This is my fasting glucose. So before Zepbound, I was at that number. Now I'm all the way down to an 89, which is right smack where it needs to be. The really only issue during my blood work was the creatinine, which is with your kidney function. However, on the voicemail that I got from my doctor's office, they basically said that's likely part of you being dehydrated and you need to drink more water. Speaking of drinking more water, I will tell you all that I'm going to be linking down below. Brumate is giving 20% off to my audience members. I'm going to put a link below. You need to use the link and the code that I have below so that you can get 20% off as well. You can get my exact same Era cup right here. This is my absolute favorite cup to have. There's a top. All you're going to do on the top, you're going to move it from that side over to this side. That then locks your straw. Yes, the straw. Once the lid is locked, you can turn this upside down. There's absolutely nothing coming out of here, which is why it's my favorite cup. So I hope you guys can enjoy the 20% off and say thank you to Brumate for that. The thing they really said to me from the doctor's office was to watch my HDL as part of my cholesterol. While my overall cholesterol number is great, the HDL is slightly low, and so they do want to see that come up a little bit. And so there's different ways that you can help that HDL level. And I'll put that up right over here, which is all things that I'm going to be trying to do. Overall, though, I'm extremely happy with my lab results. I'm not showing any kind of organ failure, you know, because they did test for a lot more, just so that you guys know, and everything else was green and great. Those were just the big things that I was like really eyeing for, that I normally get in trouble for when I'm at the doctor's office. I will also say that they made me do a breathing test while I was there, which I hate doing, but I also understand I have really bad allergies where I live. I'm basically allergic to all of the trees. And while I was there after the breathing test, then they took my blood pressure, and it was slightly elevated. And I think she was really just angry at me for taking this medication, because just because my blood pressure was slightly elevated, I am normally 120/70 something every single time, literally every single doctor, every single time. The only time it was ever elevated was when I had a gallbladder infection when I was pregnant. And she told me she was going to have to put me on blood pressure medicine if it didn't come down. And I said, okay, you need to send somebody back in here to take it again before I leave, because she did that after a breathing test. That's not really what my blood pressure is. So I did get a little irritated this week because they're real quick to put me on something like a blood pressure medicine that I definitely do not need. But they are also not very open-minded when it comes to any of the weight loss medications, which for me personally, I feel like with so many different studies that are out there right now, I know that Eli Lilly just had a huge win in China because they have been approved in China for mounjaro. So they are approved on the diabetic side. But Eli Lilly is also doing additional studies around tirzepatide, just like Novo Nordisk has done with Wegovy. Novo Nordisk did a whole study with Wegovy on how it actually benefits your cardiovascular function over a long period of time. And that's a big win for them. I know that tirzepatide and Eli Lilly is doing the exact same type of studies. They're also doing studies on obstructive sleep apnea that we have covered before. They're also doing studies around Alzheimer's that I know that we have covered before. So there's a lot of different benefits. I know that they are also looking at how this drug affects inflammation within your body, which brings me to my next topic. That I told you all there are some good things coming, right? And so Eli Lilly had some announcements and things to say in an article I read this week that I think you guys are going to want to know. The first thing that I think you guys are going to do an eyebrow raise to is Eli Lilly has said that they are looking at a pill form. They want to be inclusive of all the patients who are also not needle friendly, and they also know that manufacturing a pill is going to be much easier than trying to manufacture the liquid medicine that goes into these pens. It's also going to be extremely more cost effective as well. However, there is a pill in the works that they have been talking about. There's also a separate medication that they are studying, and I'll put the name up right over here because I know that I'll butcher it, that also works with making sure that you are not losing muscle as well. And so what I look to happen here is they're going to figure out how to combine a pill that helps you not lose muscle and a pill that helps you lose weight in general that also works with, get this, real kicker, osteoarthritis. So they're basically going to create something, or they're trying to create something that makes sure that you do not lose muscle, you do not lose your bone. It's going to help with inflammation with arthritis, and it's also going to help you lose weight. If they can hit that trifecta, then their stock is going to be absolutely insane. I hope you all bought Eli Lilly stock if you're into the stock market when I first started these videos and started telling you about all of this and all of the things that they're looking into, because I'm telling you, it has skyrocketed just since I started taking this 14 weeks ago. I mentioned before that while I was at the doctor's office that they also have me do a breathing test every time I'm there. I am in fact allergic to all of the trees where I live. I've done an allergy test before. And so I want to show you guys a little something that is our sponsor today. This is an Amazon product that I have been using for quite some time. And I want to show you guys a little bit about my favorite reflexology sock. A couple of weeks ago, I did a video on these exact socks right here. I've been getting a lot of questions from people about how it's going, and I want to give you guys a quick update. Yes, I've been using these. They live in the drawer right next to where I sit, and every single night, someone gives me a massage. First of all, if you all recall, I was using these specifically for my husband to go around and use this like a map on the bottom of my foot, and then he can kind of rub, massage, or even use the tool included to push down on different areas. This is called reflexology. So, typically every year I have sinus issues, especially this time of the year because it legit looks like it's snowing outside. I am allergic to all of the trees where I live. I mean, seriously, look at this. This is pollen. It is not snow. That is tree pollen. So on top of my toes being sensitive, because that's where the sinus is on the map, but also this middle area of my foot has been sensitive, whether my kids are doing this on the bottom of my feet
or my husband. Both of my girls like to try to test me and ask me what this area is. I always know when they get to this central part right here because it has been tender. I didn't know if maybe my SIBO had been flaring up and that was triggering that small intestine right in that middle yellow area to be sensitive, or what was going on. However, I did get my lab results back this past week from my doctor's office, who told me that my kidney function was struggling just slightly, not enough to write home about, but just slightly, and then it could just be due to me being dehydrated. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go and try and drink more water.
So for my update to you all of how it's going, yes, I'm still using it, and yes, I love it. I think they're great. Love to hear from you all today is down in the comments. I would love to know if they do in fact make a pill. Would you be interested in switching over to the pill form of this medicine, or are you going to remain on the injections? I want to hear your all's thoughts. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys my week 14 injection. This time I did it in the left side of my stomach.
As always, I make sure that I have my alcohol pad ready. I'm also going to fully inspect the Zepbound itself. I want to make sure that it is not expired. I also want to make sure that I am looking at the solution on the inside and making sure that there are no particles, no particulate, nothing that looks off. The color still looks okay. Again, as always, a bubble is normal and is perfectly fine. Before I do this, I want to make sure that I clean the area fully. I personally also, this is my personal preference when it comes to injections, I like to take a small cool pack, make sure that the whole area is cold before I get started. You guys are going to see that I have a little helper over to the side. I do, as a mom, think that it's important to have my kids see that I'm doing this, see that this is for me to do and not for them, so that they're not trying to mess with it. And the best way that I do that with my kids is to just let them be helpers with me. You're going to hear the 2 clicks. Once you hear those 2 clicks, then you are done with the injection. I have my little one right over next to me. She is almost 5 years old. She already has a Band-Aid ready, and she asked if she could put the Band-Aid on for me today. Of course, I'm going to oblige and let her go ahead and do that. You guys are going to see the fun Gabby Cat Band-Aid that I have on my stomach for today.
My week 13 results, if you guys recall back on week 13, or I'm sorry, on week 12, I had slightly gained a little bit. It was after the week after my Cosentyx injection. And so what I was trying to explain to my internal medicine doctor is typically in a normal month, on the first week of the month, let's say I lose 2 pounds. Then the very next week, it's time for me to take my Cosentyx injection. I gain 3 pounds. Let's just say that. So I'm really still up a pound. It then takes me the following week after that, taking a third Tirzepatide injection to not only get that 1 pound that I'm up during the first 3 weeks of the month off, but also to lose any further beyond that. So that is why I personally am losing weight so incredibly slowly, because I'll have a loss, turn around and have a gain, then it's a kind of a wash that week. Basically, the Tirzepatide is just not making me gain even more during the Cosentyx week. Then the following week after that is when I finally usually start to see a little bit of it coming off, or it just stays exactly the same. And it's not until the last week of the month, which is what this one was, for me to be able to really get any further off. So in my week 13, after I had gained a little over a pound, I turned around and I lost 4 pounds, all within 1 week. So I think this is kind of one of those things where your weight really fluctuates quite a bit. However, for the entire month of May, from what I weighed at the beginning of the month to right now, which is almost the end of the month of May, I really have not had that big of a loss, which is what my Weight Watchers Clinic doctor is going to be looking at. And I know that that's also why she's asking me to switch over to Wegovy. I know that when I first started looking at these and I was looking more into Ozempic and Wegovy, there seemed to be a lot more side effects that people were reporting out. I was also told that they start at a higher dosage with the Ozempic and Wegovy than the Zepbound does. However, I'm not real sure that I'm wanting to jump all into that. So I'm going to do some more research, and I will probably come back in the next 2 weeks and present some more information on Wegovy to you all that I found, and make a decision of whether or not I will or maybe or might switch over to that. I'm trying to push it out beyond June 17th because I am going to be going on vacation, and I don't really want to be starting anything new while I'm out of the state basically. So I would love to be able to push this back, and hopefully after June 17th I will be able to make a decision on that for you all. I want to thank my sponsoring brand today for making sure that all of my watchers know about these fun reflexology socks. They have been an absolute favorite at my house. I love the fact that I can get my husband and kids to rub my feet at any time. I want you all to make sure that if you are considering compounds, that you do take advantage of the $50 that you can get off via Emerge. I want you guys to additionally make sure that you are getting the 20% off from Brumate so that you can get my same water cup and stay hydrated so that you don't get in trouble for that kidney result on your upcoming lab test. And tell me down below one thing that in your recent lab work since being on this medicine you have had a vast improvement in. I cannot wait to see your all's answers below. So I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope that you guys got a little bit of information that is interesting to you all, and I hope that you stay with me on this Tirzepatide journey. I'll see you guys next time. Bye, y'all.